Hi everyone, my name is Victor Rincon and I am an ESL teacher for the Wichita Public School District. I currently am at Wichita High School East here in Wichita, Kansas. This is Module 1, our introduction video for special education for school administrators. So let's start with a little bit about my personal demographics. I'm originally from a small town called Deerfield, Kansas, where I actually graduated from Deerfield High School in 2007. A little bit about my background. I am the first generation college student within my family. I was the very first one in my entire family to receive a bachelor's degree, and I'm also the first one to actually be pursuing a master's degree through Fort Hays State University. Kansas State, K-State was where I got my undergrad, and Fort Hays will be where I'll get my master's. A little bit about my family. There up in the top right-hand corner, you can see my brothers and my mom. And I'll point at him a little bit. This is my brother Jose. This is my brother Eric. This is my brother George. And this is my brother Michael, myself, and then my mom. And so my mom was very lucky. She ended up having all boys, and so I have 4 younger siblings, which makes me the oldest. I also have a dog. His name is Taz, and he is a golden retriever. As for work-wise, like I said earlier, I work at Wichita Public School District here in Wichita High School East, and I am starting my 7th year within the district. Fun fact, I am bilingual. I speak both Spanish and English. Critical reflection. When I thought about this question, I think our school does a really good job when it comes to finding appropriate content-based learning materials and learning strategies. We have programs called Class Within a Class. We call them CWC, where we have a special education teacher and a regular ed teacher working together to meet the needs of all the students. We do have a categorical team that actually works right downstairs from us. We started a new behavior team within our school where we actually go and look at the data and see what our data tells us based off of behaviors and how we can improve it as a school-wide initiative. As I've been doing my internship, I've been learning a lot of things about special rights for our students with special needs. For example, they're only allowed to be suspended for no more than 10 days for out of school. It was a quick thing that I had to learn real quick, and so I had to identify whether the kid was regular ed or special ed. I know a little bit about individualized educational plan. I've actually just seen them, and I've read through them. I've never been part of the process to create them, which would be really neat to kind of see how it all starts. I do work with IEP managers. I've had some special ed students in my class. As an ESL teacher, it's interesting because we have our students that are ELLs and then also happen to have an IEP, and so it's always interesting to work with these specific types of students because not only are we meeting their language needs, but we also have to have an individualized program for them so that they can be successful within our ESL classes. Some other experience at the school, they have us do behavior sheets, teacher reports, where we have to report to the IEP manager basically how the student is doing. We do accommodations and modifications based off the IEP, depending on the student, if they're needed or not. And we attend IEP meetings, and we're actually required to go to those if we get invited to them. As for personal use or non-use of the content-based learning materials and learning strategies, I do have very little experience when it came to content-based learning materials and strategies. As an ESL teacher, I've had special ed students in my classroom, but I've never really gotten to work with our SPED department or special education teachers, and so this is something that I am learning and I'm excited to learn more about. Teacher report page, we do have to fill those out. We report those to the IEP managers, so I've gotten pretty good at filling them out and making sure they get turned in on time. As for a more personal experience, my internship has really given me a new perspective on special ed, especially since it really dictates a lot of the stuff that we do within the office. Whether we're spending a SPED kid versus a regular ed student, we have to be very careful with that. I attend our IEP meetings. I've attended plenty of those. I've done accommodations in my class for my special ed students, really for all students that really need those accommodations so that they can be successful in my class. I mentioned earlier we have a behavior team. The behavior team really looks at data and tries to figure out strategies, school-wide strategies that we can implement to improve this and to improve the behavior within our student body. ESOL and SPED students. I've had experience working with students that fall under both labels, and I've had some experience with making sure their behavior tracking sheets are filled out depending on the student. So some of my special ed students will come in and they have a tracking sheet that I have to fill out basically to report how they were behaving that day and whether they got all their points or not all the points, and all that information, all that data is collected downstairs through their IEP manager. As for my plan is to try to understand more about special education laws, what laws are out there, specifically time requirements, how much time do we have if we do need to test a student, if a parent requests for their student to be tested for SPED, how long do we have for that, or any type of time requirements that we need to know about, what we can and cannot do. Those are some things that I plan to become more knowledgeable about. I plan as a future administrator to offer professional development. I think our special education teachers could provide great insight on how to meet the needs of our students with special needs, especially when it comes to what are some good content-based strategies that the regular ed teachers can utilize, and maybe we could utilize those school-wide. Understanding the IEP document, a lot of teachers I feel don't really understand it, or a lot of them will just glance at it and not even read through it, and I think there's a lot of important stuff on there that teachers need to be able to understand, and understand that this is a legal document. I want to definitely know our staff. I want to know who our SPED teachers are, who their department chairs are, so that I can ask them questions. If I have any questions about SPED, I know who to reach out to. Communication is really big. I think if you have lots of communication among all teachers, and especially SPED teachers, and just communication in general, just knowing who to contact and who to communicate. That way, you know, if we're not sure about something, we could always ask someone that's in that field specifically. Take additional district-wide training for administrators. Our district does a really good job of preparing our administrators, especially first-year administrators, and so I would definitely want to pay more close attention to special ed, since this is a new area for me. Being an ESOL teacher, I've only worked with ELLs, and I really haven't had a chance to. I'm still learning about special ed and how it works, and it's very data-driven, and so my plan would be to work with my data leader and interpret that data and find ways to help our students with special needs, and so that they can be successful in our class and we're meeting all the requirements mandated by our laws. And as for funding, my biggest question is I don't know how funding works when it comes to special ed. Just from what the teachers have told me, usually special ed receives a lot of money, but I don't know how it works or what are the in and outs for SPED funding, or what we can spend it on. And so that's kind of one of the things I hope to learn about this class too, is knowing how the funding works when it comes to special education. Well, that's all I have for you guys. I'm really excited to learn more about special education for administrators, and I'm really excited to work with each and every one of you. And so good luck, everyone, and I look forward to reading your stuff.